we can both, I was a pitcher. I could throw 94. I've hit 96 off a tee with a wood bat. And when I go to Top Golf, you and I are going in a week, I've hit 200 miles per hour off exit speed with the driver. Like, that's like elite PGA Tour level. Obviously, I'm not a good golfer, but...
Yeah, you suck.
I know.
At all sports.
I know. But do you feel like that is something that... Like, I didn't learn to do that. I learned to enhance that power through training. But when some people just don't throw very hard, don't swing very hard, do you feel like they can catch up? Or how much of that, like, shoulder hip separation and rotational force can be, like, really trained?
I think it can definitely be trained. We do it every day.
Well, for sure. But, like, when you see someone, like, the term, like, country strong, right? Country strong just refers to, it's usually to, like, a big-bodied kid.
Right.
But it's also just, like, you get some soft, 6'3", 16-year-old who just, like, and they just destroy the ball. Like, that's what we kind of call, like, country strong, right? Are those people, like, how would you describe, like, how do those people, who are they? Like, how do they have that? Their body just has the flexibility and just knows how to sync it all up?
Yeah, I think so. I think a certain amount of it is kind of innate. It's such a wide range of athletes that you get. Like, you get some guys that naturally sequence really, really well. You get some guys that just don't sequence well, whether it's because of, like, a mobility issue or a flexibility issue, or it's just they never quite learned how to move properly. It's kind of hard to say for sure. It's a complicated issue. And the thing for me is, like, my job is trying to, like, figure out what's keeping them from rotating fast. So is it because they cannot, like, actually dissociate their hips and shoulders? Like, can they not turn their hips without turning their shoulders? Do they just not have very good core strength? Do they just not have a lot of range of motion through their back where they can actually rotate their body?
Yeah.
So these are all things we can test for when we do athletic assessments on athletes. We can kind of figure out, like, all right, your rotational strength, you're only producing 25 pounds of force when you rotate. This other guy produces 60, he hits harder than you, so that's probably, like, what we need to work on. Guys that can't move their pelvis and torso independently, that's going to show up when they're throwing a swing because everything just kind of rotates at the same time. So you can do drills with them to try to teach them how to kind of separate things a little bit. If they have a mobility or a flexibility issue, you could give them mobility drills or stretches to increase how much range of motion they can get. The trick is they have to just kind of take what they have and make the best of it. I think with hip shoulder separation, where people get into trouble is they start trying to, like, force it. And what we'll see a lot is guys that have been told about hip shoulder separation is, like, they'll get ready to throw a ball, they'll get here, and then it's, like, really aggressive, like, crank on the shoulders this way. And I don't think that's a good way to do it. Like, yeah, you'll create a lot of separation that way, but that's not going to seamlessly go into a throw. So I think my thing is the range of motion you have at that point in time, that's what you got. You can't try to force it any more than that. So let's find a way to take what you have and apply that to what you need to do on the mound. So, and like I said, it's different for every athlete, and every athlete uses, like, slightly different exercises, slightly different cues. But that's kind of another thing is, like, you can't just boil down hip shoulder separation into, like, create as much distance as possible. I think that's where a lot of people go wrong with it. For me, it's more about just letting your pelvis rotate first, and then once this thoracic spine kind of runs out of room, then that rotates. For guys that are tighter, like me, I might be able to get my pelvis to here when my torso starts going. That's fine. I just got to learn how to produce force from here to here. Guys that have a ton of range of motion through the spine, maybe their pelvis gets to here, and now they got to produce force from here to here. So you can train them a little bit differently, but yeah, you can always get better at rotating, get better at separating, but within the confines of your own limitations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.